have High Fidelity, About a Boy, and How to Be Good. I've only read 1.5 of these books, but the book that I've most recently read is High Fidelity. I wanted to talk about Nick Hornby's work because it seems to fluctuate an awful lot between being very well written and quite boring, really. So About a Boy is currently one of my favourite books. I haven't actually finished it, but me and someone else have been reading it together, and I think at one point we just stopped, and I never read the end. We're still waiting to pick it up and carry on. But I really enjoy the way it's written, the way he creates character and thought and feeling amongst all of the different characters within the book, and the protagonists all work very fluidly together, and it's all very interesting to read because of the way the characters work and interact together, and how 3D they are, and how much thought is going into each individual character and the way they think and feel. Whereas in High Fidelity, the characters don't really progress very much. I found that there was very little change throughout the story, the storyline itself wasn't very interesting, and the characters were all a bit dull. I'm going to talk most about High Fidelity because this is the one that I want to review. So Nick Hornby's High Fidelity is not something that I would recommend to very many people. It's taken me a very long time to read. It's been boring, and I didn't really think about putting it back down. I'm not really sure why, but the storyline itself follows a man through his life, his relationships, and all the things that are essentially bringing him down, and I found it very difficult to cope with, really. It was interesting, but not in a very interesting way, if that makes sense. So the metaphors and the sort of background of the book was very interesting, the way that the music is used to create emphasis and understanding with the emotions within the book, and every time the protagonist talks about a musical choice or a genre or a specific artist, he's essentially referencing how it's supposed to emotionally feel. But because of the time frame that the book is set, I think it's 80s and 90s, I didn't really know very much of the music that he was talking about, in spite of the fact that he was talking about things that probably would have been quite big at the time. So I found it incredibly hard to follow. This was a bit of a letdown because I knew Nick Hornby to be quite a big author, and he's released a lot of books, and somebody generally recommended How to Be Good to me, and I thought maybe it'll be great, maybe all of his books are as good as About a Boy has been, but apparently not. So if anything, this is a word of warning to be very careful about which Nick Hornby book you choose, because they tend to fluctuate from story to story. This has been a very short review, and I'm aware of it, but if you want me to go more into detail on matters like this, I'd be happy to. Please comment below. Some of you have been leaving comments about certain books that I should read and review, and I will get round to it eventually, but I have a lot of books on my TBR to be read shelf at the moment. So this has been Reviews Day Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed this review. It's been very fun to talk about books in this sort of manner. My Tumblr, Twitter and Goodreads are in the description below, and you can click here for last week's episode.